Hello again and good evening. I have just found a PDF article on the Y chromosome DNA of the Turkmen population. I'm going to actually summarize this paper. So studies were the contributors to this study were mostly from Russia and Kazakhstan. And I'm going to actually add this PDF paper to my YouTube video. This is very, very important because I have found out that most of the stuff that I have been researching and claiming is true. I have been studying Turkish language and Sumerian together with the Chuvash language, etc., etc. If you watch my previous videos, you will notice that I compared some languages, especially the Turkish language with Mongolian, Turkic languages, Hungarian, Sumerian, etc. And from this, I made out some claims, and this actually proves that there was not only a contribution of the language, but also an admixture of the chromosomes. That means, I will turn back later. So this is very important. It says, this study investigates the Y chromosome genetic diversity of the Turkmen population. So they took the turkmens in Turkmenistan, and they also took the Turkmens in Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Russia, and Uzbekistan. Also, they compared the relationship with Central Asia and the Near East. So this is important. And most of the haplogroups were Q and R1a. That's the outcome of it. And the Turkmens trace, the Turkmens, they trace back their Y chromosome to the Bronze Age, okay? And comparative analysis was made. And all the Turkmens were compared in the regions and with the Near Eastern populations, etc., and Central Asia, and the Turkmen populations there. And I'm skipping the introduction actually, because mostly what I want to focus on is, anyway, I'm not skipping this. I'm sorry, I have to make an introduction, because who are the Turkmens? It is very important. The Turkmens are of the Oghuz branch, right? So there is an Oghuz branch of the Turks, not only of the Turkic languages, but also of the tribe called Oghuz. And the majority of the Turkmens, they are from the Oghuz tribe. So it gives here some numbers, but I'm sure that there are more than just 5 million people there. And I'm sure in Turkey there are lots and lots of Turkmens living, not only 100,000 or 200,000, it must be more. So here it gives a number, and it says here in Turkey the number is 125,000. I'm sure there are millions of Turkmens living in Turkey, alone in the Taurus Mountains, on the edges of the Taurus Mountains, in central Anatolia, around Konya. There used to live more Turkmens here, but with the recent Syrians, the Syrian refugees and all other refugees coming in, the Turkmen number is shrinking actually, and the Turks number is shrinking. Or it will shrink in the future. So if you look at Russia, there are 41,000, but I'm sure there are more numbers because Russians have a mixture with Turkmens. They have mixed with Turkmens. Uzbeks are Turks as well. And in Iran, I have heard that there are approximately, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I heard about 40 million something. If I'm not mistaken. So Turkmen, Turk actually is very similar. But most of the time, Turkmens are called the Turks that in Anatolia, they are residing around the Taurus Mountains, in the Mediterranean, in Central Asia. And in the area of Konya, Karaman, we also have the Turks that went to Cyprus in the Ottoman era. So we can say that in the Turkish part of Cyprus, the descendants of the Karaman people, the Turkmens, they went there. So the Turkish Cypriots are Turkmens in origin. And I'm skipping some parts here because I want to focus on something. Wait a minute. I'm so sorry. Well, it says here, please log in. I have to stop this. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm here again. Now, this part is important. The introduction part is important, and I might leave it after the introduction because I will have my part, having proven that everything is related. Now here, very important. We talked about the numbers, the Oghuz branch, etc., right? And now, this part is important. The formation of the Turkmen people involved contributions from diverse ancestral populations across various historical periods. This is very important, including Sumerians, Hittites, Khwarezmians, Cimmerians, Scythians, Massagets, Sarmatians, Parthans. Oh God, what does it say here? Hyrcanians. I have never heard of these. Horasanians, Alans, Huns, Hephthalites, Kypchaks, and Oghuz Turks. Now, I want to focus on one point here. When I said Sumerians, they had something to do with Turks, and they are involved in with the Turks, and the land was there were the land. All these names, they are all proto-Turkic names. If you look at Sumerians and their land, look at the Hittites in Anatolia, the Khwarezmians, the Cimmerians, they are claimed to be Turkic. The Scythians are proto-Turkic. The Massagets, they are close to Scythians. Sarmatians are claimed to be Turkic. The Parthians are claimed to be Turkic. The Hunsanians, I have no idea of this, but it could be also connected to the Turks. The Horasanians, the Alans. When I said the Alans are Turks, I had lots of contradiction from a new YouTuber, because the Alans are Turks. The Huns, they have something to do with Turks. The Hephthalites have something to do with Turks. Kupchaks are Turks. The Oghuz Turks are definitely Turks. So, you name it. So, this is important. And I didn't even make lots and lots and lots and lots of research on the DNA stuff. Yes, I did. But I mostly looked at the geography. I looked at the journeys of geography. I looked at the traditions when I listened to Barry Cunliffe, the archaeologist. I looked at the similarities of the Turks and the traditions that the Scythians had. And it is the same. So why should you seek these traditions in other people when you have it? And also, the way you bury your dead. This is very clear. So also, when you have Sumerian traditions, it is very close to Turkish traditions. You name it, the Scythians, Massagets, Sarmatians, Parthians, etc. The Huns. Okay, maybe we don't ride horses that much as we used to. And I'm sure there are some other tribe names that have something to do with relativity. For example, the Hungarians are not mentioned here. The Avars in Europe, they're not mentioned here. And they are all so connected to the Turks. The Bulgars, you name it. And the mixture, anyway, I'm leaving it here. But you will see that these have all Turkmen blood. It goes on. It goes on. I'm skipping this part. So, and it says here, the human settlement in present-day Turkmenistan started in the early Neolithic. It says here. But actually, I said my part. That's the most important part, actually. That's what I wanted to say. But I have to summarize it. Here we have some details on the people, where they live, and where they were found. So present-day Turkmenistan, as I said, goes back until the early Neolithic. And then we have the Bronze Age here, the Bactria Margiana archaeological complex, the BMAC, as we call it. And then we have all the tepes here. And apropos tepe, the American natives have some hills which they call tepe, and they have certain common names with the Turks. So I'm sure they are distant. We have a common ancestor with them. It might not be that close, but I think we are cousins with them. And I also think that we are very close to the cat people in Siberia as well. Probably relatives. But mixed with, I think they mixed morely with the Russians, and we might have mixed with other tribes as well there. But Turkic people, most of them Turkic people. So different tribes of Turkic people. So what you see here, the Alans, the Sumerians, God, you name it, what I said before, they are all actually, I think they were all a branch of kind of proto-Turk tribes and the continuation of the proto-Turks. So what the scholars did was they found new names just to make our head a little bit more confused. But in fact, Hittite is not Indo-European. Sumerian is not Indian. I mean, they might be black-headed people, but they are not Indian. They were not Indian. And they were not Arab either. So, we talked about BMAC. We talked about all the tepes here. And all the places that you have. So, I'm skipping the details, but because this is the most important part I wanted to mention. We have here other things, Genghis Khan, and we have the Golden Horde, we have the Turkmens, again, mentioned here. And we have the aim of the study, of course. The aim of the study is, I think it has proven that I was right. My claims have been right. I worked through DNA, through the root geography. I made logical conclusions, and of course I worked with the language. That's important. The language and the customs and the traditions. That's enough. And the way people are buried. Here you will see that everything is proven the way, I mean, you don't have to make lots of analysis. I mean, I don't have to be an archaeologist or a DNA geneticist here or a biogeneticist. Everything is very clear, crystal clear. So, and then it says the aim of this study is to investigate the diversity, the genetic diversity of the Turkmen population of Turkmenistan, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this means that Turkmens are spread all over the globe. Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Russia, Uzbekistan, etc., etc. And Anatolia, of course. So, yes. I also want to add that Ataturk knew the reason why he formed and founded Sümerbank, why he founded Itibank, why he said give importance to the Hittites. So he was not somebody who knew nothing. He knew what he was talking about, and when he said "Ne mutlu Türk'üm" diyene, how happy to say that I'm a Turk, or proud to be a Turk, he mentioned actually this because he knew that the Turks had a very wide-ranged root stretching from most of the continents, especially when mentioning Turkmens. So that's why I think he said these things. All right, so we have here the Kazakhs, etc., and especially, wait a minute, I have to say something here. It says, to further contextualize these Turkmen populations, a comparison was made, comparing populations. Okay, they compared them with the Tajiks, Uzbeks, Afghans, Arabs, Kurds, Syrians, Yazidis, Karakalpaks, etc., etc., etc. Right? So that's what I wanted to say. Mainly, I'm not going into the details. And here we have the data analysis, and here you see the haplotypes, and the outcome is we have the map here. So this is, can you see the map? Okay, so this is actually the analysis of the Y haplotype. We have here, in Russia, most Turkmens had R1A, and then followed G2A. And in the area around Iraq, the Turkmens had J2A. It's actually mixed equally. You have R1A there, you have E1B, you have J1A. But they're all Turkmens, right? So you see the unification here. So they didn't divide according to DNA. They didn't divide according to haplogroup. It was the culture that united the people. It was the customs. And if you see the customs, it is enough to be a Turk. So here in Siberia, you see more the haplogroup Q, right? Okay, so that's the outcome of the paper. As I said, I'm adding this to my presentation. So it's not a presentation, it's just a certain it is a certain spotting, it is a certain finding, and it is a certain proof that I found. Okay, so here it actually summarizes the map given. Okay, and here we have all the explanations of this. So the conclusion, the study presents that the Y chromosome among the Turkish population, among the Turkmen population, in Turkmenistan is based on this and this and this. So it studied actually the Turkmens in Turkmenistan, but they are not that much different from the Turkmens outside of Turkmenistan. So there are Turkmens everywhere around the world. So Turkmens in Anatolia, Turkmens in Uzbekistan, in Asia, in Europe, there are also Turkmens. Okay, so most of the time there was haplogroup Q and R1A. So this was the main haplotype, Y chromosome. Yes, so as a result, this one paragraph made me so happy that I decided to share it with you. Please take care. Bye.